Alright, here we are, back at the shithole that wishes it was a sinkhole. I told you that Melmond was a terrible place, and you thought it was just because the Earth Crystal was being drained, but no, Melmond has always been Melmond, and has always been terrible. But luckily, we don't have to go there just yet. Now, first order of business. Remember when I said Max gets bonuses for not having things equipped? Well, look at who has things equipped. Me. So we're just gonna remove this stuff. We're just gonna make Max completely nude. Take everything off, but maybe his undies. Hopefully his undies. Otherwise, we have got a naked fighter on our hands. So, second order of business, which will lead to all the other orders of business, we're going to the southeast continent. See all the way on the bottom with all the rivers? Yeah, that's the one we're going to. So, first off, let's get into a battle. Wow! I can actually do that on command. Neat. So, I'm actually going to show this one because, well, let's just see how Max does. Well, first off, he moved first in the group, and second off, 355 damage. Granted, Buccaneers are very weak, but, given my fighter is doing 190 damage, yeah. Max is now better than my fighter. Isn't that just grand? So anyway, we're heading to this continent right here. We're heading to a little village called Crescent Village, I believe. Now, we're actually going to be doing two major things this time around. First off, we're going to be doing something that's technically part of it's optional, part of it's not, so I guess technically we're doing three things, but the last thing on the agenda is actually getting the second crystal in the game. Yeah, I know. Remember when I said that the first one comes a little bit of a distance after the start of the game? Well, this is the point of the game where we just start getting the crystals. We're gonna be getting... We'll get the next crystal in this set. But first, of course, we have to stop at a nearby town, because that's always what we have to do. There's a little dock right here, and I'm just gonna put this right here because in the time it would take me to get around to the boats, I would get in a random battle. Trust me, I know these things. It would happen. There would be a random battle ambush, and I wouldn't like that. By the way, these are the scorpions that I tried to show off a while back, and I just showed you them in the bestiary. Well, here they are. They are thoroughly uninteresting. See, they can poison you, but that one didn't. Just like these anacondas right here, I know they can poison you. I read it. I looked it up just to make sure I wasn't crazy, and while I am crazy, I'm not crazy like that. However, they've yet to poison me, I think? Actually, I don't really remember at this point. But I know they can poison you, that's for sure. Anyway, the village is actually pretty close. Not close enough to prevent stuff like this, and hi, you guys look vicious. Actually, I'm pretty sure these guys are recolors of guys we haven't actually fought yet, maybe? I know they're recolors of red versions of these guys, and ooh, 41 damage. Ooh, 43 damage. Could you attack Vance so I can see how much damage you actually do to him? Because, you know, that's how I measure things, you know. You're not a good enemy unless you can actually do damage to Vance. In which case, I'm afraid of you, and please go away. On the bright side, though, they're not doing too much damage. Not enough to kill anyone. They do have a lot of HP, though. Okay, they're wimps. They can do decently against Dante and, well, Lynx, but, you know, White Mage and all, but, Vance, they do 1 damage. I mean, that happens a lot, but still, nonetheless, it's kinda disappointing. You could do better, dude. Just as I say that, he decides, I'm gonna get some damage off on you. But it doesn't matter. We'll be stopping at an inn soon enough. See, right across that pleasant-looking lake. That crescent-shaped lake. Do you get where their name's from? Do ya? Come on, do ya? Anyway, yep, here's Crescent Lake. Yeah, we don't need to check out the inn just yet. What do they got for items? Ether, very important, actually. I'll definitely be picking those up after I buy everything else, because they're not necessary, but they do help. Naturally, I just decided to stop at that inn real quick. And who cares about the cost, really? I just decided to rest up. You didn't need to see that. I'm pretty sure that's the church over there. What do they have in terms of armor? Not that much. The buckler is actually a pretty useful shield, and it can actually be used by classes that don't normally get shields, such as Dante here. He and his red mageness don't really have many shields they can use. Same thing for thieves, actually. They don't get many shields. They don't get very good shields either, but hey, at least they can get a buckler. Of course, I believe there's a certain item that actually raises evasion, which I find better, that counts as a shield that everyone can use. Well, maybe he just likes exploring and sleeping. I can't pin the guy for anything. You know, I can totally see how that would work, you know. You explore a lot, and then you need to sleep. Sleeping's good. Makes for a healthy body. The Great Axe is not that great. Mithril, of course, is sort of a mid-tier weapon. That guy's sleeping next to a grave. I don't know. It might be his hobby. Gonna sell stuff, actually. Not pictured here, me selling stuff. Also not pictured here, me selling other stuff. Alright, the stuff has been sold, but of course we still need to check out the, magics, because that's always important. I like having magic, that's why I have mages. Stona, very useful. Exit, very useful. Let's see. Protera, very useful. And Invisora, very useful. Okay, so all 4 white mage spells are useful. That's kind of unusual. Of course, then again, I only need exit for 1 person, so I suppose I could give that to Dante as long as the black mage spells aren't too good. Yeah, I can give it to him. Not right now, but later. What do we have for black mages? Thundaga, Death, Quake, and Stun. Are you kidding me? 2 death spells in the same shop. And Stun's useful. So Thundaga is the only useful spell in here. Wow. This is the worst black magic shop I've ever seen. Seriously, that's kinda useless, actually. Well, at the very least, at least there's no temptation. I can just buy Exit and then Thundaga and probably Protera or Invisora. Both those spells are pretty useful. Anyway, I'm gonna buy magic real quick. Alright, here's all the stuff I bought. I already expressed that I was going to buy them, and of course I can't get anything for my red mage until a certain thing happens. But at the very least I should be getting magic soon, so that's cool. Alright, over here we have a circle of NPCs to talk to. Woo! Oh hey, he kinda rhymed. He must be so proud of himself. That's my crystal power, get your own! Until then, they'll just be dumb. Well, that's practical. Huh, well, apparently we haven't had wind for 400 years. Now, we couldn't actually come here. Well, I think we could come here, but we wouldn't really be getting this dialogue here until we defeated Lich. Because apparently defeating him actually roused this fiend. Yep, as this guy says. So until you defeat him, you can't actually get a certain item, which he will now give us. Wait, you give us the item, not the guy that looks unique? And we just got a canoe to carry around with us for a while. Isn't that just lovely? Wait, but... Okay, he's Luke. He even has a name, but he is probably the most useless NPC here. He does sort of give away a huge plot point, or point to the game, or... It's sort of important to the story, but you'd get it without him, so... Apparently he's unique for nothing. Isn't that just grand? Well, anyway, that's all we need to do here, so I'm just gonna buy some stuff real quick. Alright. As I mentioned before, it's probably a good idea to stock up on some ethers, because they're relatively inexpensive, and you might be needing them soon. Might, unless you're really good. Alright, so we could actually go to the next major dungeon of the game, Mount Golg, as it is called, or Mount Grug, or Garg, or whatever it is. No matter what, it's got a dumb name. But actually, we're going to be going after a certain other thing yet. Or next. Yet? How did I come up with that? But anyway, yeah. So this is partially optional and partially required. It's not required to do just yet. You're gonna have to do it after the dungeon, and hi, Neo-Chew! It's a Chew from the future! Oh man, it's probably part cyborg, because all things in the future are cyborgs. Oh, hi! Oh, you're actually kind of threatening. Isn't that just great? Oh, how lovely. Yeah, that's actually problematic. Okay, Neo-Chews. They're actually kind of troublesome. But, not too bad. Not too terrible. Anyway, yeah. You don't have to do this next thing just yet, but you will have to do it after this dungeon, and if you don't do it now. And the thing I'm going to follow it up with is definitely optional. But, I'm going the wrong way. Oh shit, I was supposed to, go backwards, actually, so let me go back to my ship real quick. Wow, that was kind of pathetic. Oh hey, I got a level. Okay, well, I guess I actually have to show this now. I guess I don't have to, but hey, now you know I leveled up. Oh man, isn't that important information to have. Anyway, okay, now back to the ship. Alright, so, now that we're back here, I actually had to sail up here real quick, where there's actually a second river maze. I know, apparently one river maze wasn't enough, they had to add in a second, which is right down here, I believe. Yep, should be... oh, yep, there's the entrance. So, this only led to one thing in the NES version, but it leads to two. I'm guessing you know that the second thing is a bonus dungeon, which, as per usual, we won't be going to for a while. Actually, I think it might actually be the last one, surprisingly enough, even though we haven't actually encountered the second. We've encountered the third, and we're going to encounter the fourth, which is right over there. But hey, have an unrecolor? It's just a normal Ochu, so it's not from the future, unlike our good old friend Neo-Chew, which can poison us and do a lot of damage. I believe all of these guys are weak to electricity, except maybe the Ochu. And again, the Neo-Chew wasn't weak to fire, so I guess they're not wood enemies in this game. Even though they are wearing leaves around themselves, and leaves should automatically mean grass-type enemy. I know this because logic. I totally have a grasp on reality. Actually, we might as well get this on the map real quick. So yeah, we found the first, we found the third, and here we have the fourth bonus dungeon, Whisperwind Cove. Probably the least annoying one, actually, but we'll get into that later. No? And, never speak to me again, you weirdo. If I had a dime every time someone asked me that, I wouldn't even have a dime. I'm not even sure he asked me that. Okay, anyway... Are those crocodiles new? Actually, wait, are those even crocodiles? I mean, crocodiles have this sort of, shorter, rounder nose, right? Or snout, or jaw, or whatever. And alligators are supposed to have the longer ones, but at the same time, those kind of look like hooked, jaws, maws, snouts, whatever. Look at that. They're hooked. Okay, apparently none of them are weak to electricity despite being water enemies. I guess since they're river enemies, it's technically different. You know, it's a different source of water. Well, not source, but different kind of water. It doesn't have nearly the same amount of salt content as the oceans do, and therefore, the ocean enemies, or water enemies, are not ocean enemies, and they are not weak to electricity. Okay, so, here's the other thing we were here for, at last. Again, this is required, but not at this point necessarily. And it's not that difficult, but you might run low on MP, which is why I suggest you go get those ethers if you didn't have that many. I'm gonna get in a tent real quick, and then we will enter this next dungeon right here. Are you ready to enter this cave? I can't hear you, but I can only assume you said yes. Alright, here we are in the Cavern of Ice. 3 guesses to figure out what enemies are in here. I bet you'll never guess. 5 cockatrices. Well, thought I was going to be wise and say, ice enemies, just, you know, to be just as a little joke that, please stop attacking me, cockatrices. That, you know, ice enemies are in the ice cavern, because, you know, that's painfully obvious, but no, there are 5 cockatrices. Also 3 mummies, but, 5 cockatrices, that's not at all what I wanted to see, to be completely honest. And I hope they die. Okay, they did die. This isn't nearly as bad as I thought it was. Alright, well, other than the cockatrices that I just fought, there are also ice enemies, and wizard enemies, wizard squid enemies, and mummies, and they just shoved a bunch of enemies down here. Nothing too bad to worry about. I believe we fought all these guys, actually. And down it goes. Alright, we got a level up. Ooh, those are some nice gains. And surprisingly enough, Vance didn't get a good HP gain, even though that's supposed to be his trait. But anyway, yeah. So, we're down here pretty much for one specific reason. Gil, of course. All the gil that is down here. And pointless rooms. All those things are just so great. Okay, obviously not. There's one huge item that we're going to need to get if we want to complete this game at all, and it should be right here. See that right there, that little diamondy thing? Doesn't that look important? Well, look at those cracks. I'm guessing you know that if you step on those, they break, and... Hi there, Red Mini Astoses! Boy, am I glad that I got a preemptive strike on you guys. Okay, Dark Wizards, probably the most powerful enemies in here. They can cast August spells. Yeah, isn't that great? Okay, I've taken one down, so this shouldn't be too bad. I shouldn't die horribly. In fact, I might be able to kill... Never mind. Couldn't kill him before he got that off. Okay, well, that wasn't too terrible, but, yeah, if they appear in a group of 4 or 5, be very, very careful if they all decide they want you dead. But anyway, we can't get the Levy Stone just yet because it's surrounded on all sides by cracks. Ooh, we can get this Flame Sword, though, which is very useful for ice enemies, of which we'll probably be seeing, like, 3 of down here, if that. Seriously, have we even fought any ice enemies just yet? I don't think we have. I mean, seriously, there are ice wolves, I know it. I've seen them myself, and they aren't that bad, but they do know in a spell that can actually hit all of your party members, which is why you need ethers, so... These spikes hurt, by the way. But yeah. Ooh. White dragons. Okay, I think they also know the spell I was just talking about, that the ice wolves know. It's a spell, I believe, called Ice Storm or something like that? And I'm not quite sure if these guys have it, but I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, they're ice enemies, and if they want to be effective in any way, they'd have it. But ice dragons, or white dragons, sorry, they really aren't that tough. Despite being dragon enemies, and, you know, usually dragon enemies are tough. Alright, let's see how that ice armor is. Cannot be worn by anyone but a knight. Lovely. Okay, I'm pretty sure this protects you from ice attacks, or maybe it's so cold that it protects you from fire attacks. Probably the former, I'm sure. But anyway, yeah, these spikes hurt, but only 1 HP at a time, so they're not too terrible. But just, of course, be careful of how much HP. Hi guys, how's it going? I see you got your friends. That's not what I wanted you to do at all. Okay, hopefully these guys are dumb. Ooh, or I could take them out in 1 hit. Dang, I've apparently got some pretty good weapons, like that, fire sword that apparently they're weak to. Okay, so these guys are weak to fire. Good to know. I wouldn't have thought that they were, you know, ice elemental. Guess they're not technically ice elemental, but they can still be weak to fire. Are you dumb? Dude, you could possibly kill Dante right now. Seriously, kill him. Kill him dead. You could have killed him dead. Well, actually, no, not really. He only took 87 damage from that. He probably wouldn't have been killed. He probably would have been A-okay. But still, nonetheless, I should consider killing these guys until they're dead. so that they do not kill me until I'm dead, and that's how fighting works. And please stop spamming Faraga, please. I hate exploding, and you know what? You're getting on my nerves. And thank goodness he didn't attack again, because if he hadn't, or if he had, well, I probably would have been in a bit of trouble. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. Spikes, yet another reason you need to, well, don't need, but you should have ethers or elixirs or whatever, because you will be spending quite a bit of MP down here. Here we are. Apparently they're Winter Wonder Wolves. And none of them did Ice Storm. I know they can do Ice Storm. I know that at the very least that these guys have it. Apparently they all just want to get physical today. I don't get it either. Up, here we go. Ice Storm. It attacks the entire party, but it's not that bad. Yeah, see? Less than 50 damage, so not all bad. Or maybe less than 50 damage. I wasn't paying attention to how much damage Lynx took, but whatever. Anyway, yeah. Not sure if the White Dragons have any spells like that. Pretty sure they do, but again, yet another reason that you should have elixirs or ethers or what have you. Oh, and look at that! Mind Flayers! Yet another non-ice enemy. These guys are known for their attack Mind Blast. And then it wasn't just an attack in later games. Yeah, it exists in this game too. It targets every member in the party and gives them all paralysis. Whoop-de-doo. Oh boy, don't you just love it when that happens? And that was strangely ineffective. Beware, because their attacks can actually one-hit kill you. Yeah. Trust me on this one. I read it, and that's kind of dumb. And okay, well, here are the recolors of the other guys. I guess the other guys were not the recolors this guy was thinking of, and he's in the ice cavern, but there's one of them, and he's kind of pathetic. Alright, well, got a level here. That's actually kind of nice. Alright, moving on. Alright, let's see what we got in here. Ooh, treasure chest. Let me guess, it's gonna be Gil. Oh no, we got an ether. Well, that's useful. Of course, then again, I'm not running too low on MP right now, so that's actually pretty good. I'm conserving pretty well. Which is good because we're almost done with this dungeon. And in fact, in this room, there's a crack. Ooh, and 3 chests. I definitely want these. A sleeping bag, really? Well, there's an ice shield, so at least that's useful, but sleeping bag is worse than a tent. Trust me on this one, it is. Anyway, if we go down into this crack right here... Look at that! We can get to the Levy Stone! But oh no, what's this? Evil Eye! Oh, this could... Okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna pretend to be afraid. Remember Vampire? Remember how pathetic he was? This guy is weaker than he is. Yes, that's right. Weaker. I'm pretty sure he has the attack Gaze, which could possibly petrify you. He might even have death, but he is kind of a joke. Gonna use that, and then that, and he's gone! That's the mini-boss of the dungeon, guys. That was what's protecting this Levy Stone right here. Yeah. Some guardian there. Now, I don't remember who, but some villager, I believe, mentioned that Levy Stone actually floats in air. Now, what could we have... what use could that possibly have? Well, we'll see in a bit. It's nothing we could really possibly know of, let's be honest. You really have to look through stuff to know it's there, but it is there, and, I'm dumb. Hold on a minute. Hello there, my name is Klutz that does not pay attention to where he is going. How are you? Anyway, yeah, Levy Stone. It's important. We probably should... Wait, what? So this is how it ends. Gunned down by Pisca demons. It's been a hell of a ride. Wow, that wasn't the Oblivion Army ending that I thought it was going to be. And I wasn't even done with my list of goodbyes. Okay, well, anyway, Levy Stone, important. Find out what it does in just a moment.